We're going to go to the text and do some of the text. We had talked about 6 main negative emotions. 5 of them are called not viewpoint of your world, and the last one is a viewpoint of your world. Oh, you guys got it? No. Let me see. Shukchok, okay? ZHUGS, ZHUGS space MCH. Yeah, good. That's it. Okay. So we're on the 4th one of the viewpoints. Okay, we did 5 negative emotions that are not viewpoints, and then the 6th negative emotion, the big one, it has 5 negative viewpoints inside of it. Let's go over some of those 5. First one was destruction view, which is a wrong idea about me and my things. Okay. Wrong idea about where I come from. Second one was extreme view. And for example, either I am permanent, or I don't exist at all, or I exist from my own side, or I don't exist at all. Okay. Third one was thinking my wrong ideas are the best, which is a third kind of view. And then today we're on the 4th one. 4th one is called thinking mistaken kinds of practices are cool, okay? And this was kind of very popular in India a long time ago, and we'll talk about it here. Tsutam Dan Tulshuk Chongzini. This is called thinking that kinds of morality and tapas, difficult spiritual practices, are the best. Generally, morality is the best, but it's wrong morality. Okay, so we're going to talk about it. Kangbaya Chiki Dengwei Tsutim Dang. There's a practice in India where if you hold your arm up for years, you will reach nirvana. Okay, and this arm gets very skinny, and so they try to hold it up for most of the day for many years, and then this arm gets you can't move it much, and they think that this kind of hurting your body is some kind of religious practice. Okay. Another example is Menga Temba. Menga Temba means it's like you do a fire offering, which we're going to do tonight, and you sit in front of the fire, but then you build 4 fires around you. So you are inside of 4 fires in front of a 5th fire, and it's very, very painful. And they think this is spiritual. This is a spiritual thing. I think Christians have a thing in the old days where they will whip themselves with some nails or something and like hurt your body. Okay. Then there was a weird Indian religion many years ago where you do your practices, you do your prayers, and you dig a big hole, and you put a 3-point spear upright in the hole. So it looks like that. The points are sticking like that. And then you jump into the hole, and you try to get the spear to go here, here, and here. And you commit suicide with one part through your head and 2 parts through your shoulders. And then this is considered a way to get to nirvana. Yangshi Chawa Tushuk. I didn't know what this was. I looked it up. this is some kind of weird thing where you dress up in animal fur and you act like that animal, and it will prevent you from going to that lower birth, okay? Like you bark all the time, or you wear a dog coat or something like that, okay? And then he goes into it a little bit. So some people get a little bit of correct vision into their last life. Then they saw that in their last life they were a dog. And they get this strange logic, okay? If I was a dog in my past life, and I died, and I became a human in this life, then the way for me to become a human in my next life is to pretend I'm a dog in this life. Okay. They get this strange idea, okay? They bark like a dog. They wear a collar and all the dog's things. And they try to act as much like a dog as they can. And they keep this, quote, this is a morality for them, called dog morality. And they think this will free them from samsara, okay, sansara. And to us it looks stupid, but probably we are doing some things like that. You know, probably we also have some ideas like that. And in the reading, what's the item number 9? Yeah, it's young guys doing graffiti. So they are painting walls. It's illegal, right? In most places. You're not allowed to do it. And what it means is you're supposed to be... I remember my teacher telling me, Ken Rinpoche, you know, you're supposed to save every living being. You're supposed to help every living being. But you are one of them. You're also one of every living being, okay? Then I think sometimes we forget, you know, we focus on other living beings, we focus on taking care of other living beings, and we forget that we are also a living being. So, this is the idea where they say your body is like a temple, and you should take care of your body, and you should take care of your mind, because you are also one of all living beings. So, you know, you should eat well, you should rest enough, and you shouldn't think of yourself as something impure or someone who's not capable. Many people, spiritual people, they think, oh, I'm a bad person, or I'm not very capable, my meditation's not so good, I don't keep my 6 times book. I remember many years ago I taught a young man, he was from Burma. Did you know him? He studied in Hull. He came from my job. But you know, he used to have this idea that he was, he wouldn't take care of himself. He said, what's his Anki, or something like that. And every time I taught him, like if I taught him the 6 times book, he was upset. And he said, now you gave me another reason to feel guilty every morning. I just have all these reasons to feel guilty every morning. And I'm a bad person, and you're supposed to be helping me, but you keep giving me things to do every morning. And now it's new things to feel guilty about. Like, now I didn't do my meditation, I didn't do my 6 times book, you know. All these things you're teaching me, it's just one more thing that I'm not doing. Okay, so this kind of hurting yourself is against this viewpoint, okay? This viewpoint where you hurt yourself. It's not that you are sticking a spear through your head. It's that you are constantly thinking you are not good enough, You are not special. You are not practicing well. Okay? You get more and more teachings, and it seems like you're a worse and worse person. There's a famous meditation thing. They say if you start to meditate, you will find that your mind gets worse. And the student came to the teacher and said, after you taught me meditation, my mind got worse. What did the teacher say? It was always bad. Your mind was always bad. You didn't notice it before. You're actually improving, okay? So I think this is not some kind of crazy viewpoint where we are jumping on spears or something like that, or we are whipping ourselves. We tend to beat ourselves up, right? In English we say beat ourselves up. We don't respect ourselves, but if you are here and you came to Diamond Mountain, already you are one in, 10 million people, okay? And you don't feel special, you feel like a normal person. Especially when you have a bad morning, you don't do any practice at all. And you feel like pretty normal, and you don't feel special. But if you're here, you are special. And you can't say you're not. You are, okay? So don't beat yourself up. That's also hurting the temple, which is your body, your mind, okay? We're not allowed to hurt this temple. When you criticize yourself all the time, sometimes you can, okay? But not all the time, okay? You are like spraying graffiti on the temple, okay? You are making the temple dirty, okay? You are a beautiful temple. Your body, your mind is a beautiful temple. And you have to admit it, okay? You're here, and you don't feel like, oh, I'm the most special person in my country or something, but you are, okay? So appreciate yourself, okay? Otherwise you are breaking this viewpoint, okay? Okay. Of course you're a bad person, but sometimes you do good things. Okay. No, just kidding. If you're here, you're very strange. You're very strange and you're very special. Okay. And you have better chance than anyone in this world in your life, okay? You have a better chance than anybody. Okay. Number 5, I think, right? Lokta, say Lokta. Lokta means wrong views, and I'm going to list some of them. Denshi, you don't believe in the 4 higher truths. It's not true that my whole life is pain. It's not true that I can stop the pain. It's not true that it has a cause. It's not true that there's a path. Okay? These are not true. Or Koncho. 3 jewels, Sambao. It's not true that there are people who escape from this pain. And it's not true that there is a method. It's not true that you can see emptiness directly, okay? It's not true that there are people around me who have seen emptiness directly. Sangha, okay? Lende, it's not true that if I do a small good deed, I can get a huge good result. Karma and its growth, the growth of karma is not true, okay? These are all lokta. And if you got in a room with somebody, if you got in a room with Geshe Michael and Geshe Michael says, do you believe in karma? You say, yes, Geshe, I believe in karma. And then we go out and say something bad to somebody, 5 minutes later. So there's believing in karma in your words, and there's believing in karma in your actions, right? So, of course, all of us tell people we believe in karma. We are Buddhist, right? But then we do things that looks like we don't believe in it, okay? Mepartawa di sodang. Shanga mepala yepan dondopa don yepala mepa tawa chepala tab kundemni. Then there's a very famous thing in Buddhism, especially mind-only school, called Jondok and Kurdep. Who wants to try? Word for $0.
So literally the word Jondok and Kundep mean to overrate something,
Yeah.
discount something.
Yeah. I keep thinking about this. The wife comes home and her husband is texting, and he looks really happy, he's laughing, and she walks into the room suddenly, and then, wow. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Cool. Now I forgot my example. Oh, he's texting. She comes in the room suddenly. He hides his phone, right? And then she's suspicious because he looks so happy. If you ever had this problem, you know what it feels. It feels really bad. Oh, the husband is... Somebody's really making my husband happy. And then you get really jealous, you know. And that night, when he's asleep, you check his phone to find out what's his other girlfriend's name. And you find out he was on Alibaba. What's the other one? Alba? Taobao. He was buying you a birthday present. He wasn't texting his other girlfriend. And he was so happy because he was thinking about how happy you're going to be when you get the birthday present, okay? But you had this is called Jondog. Jondog means you make a big story about something which is not true, okay? The whole thing is not true. What's the biggest Jondog in the kitchen? My husband decided to yell at me. My husband decided to yell at me, okay? That's where this yelling come from. He saw me open the door, then he had a thought in his mind, I will criticize my wife. I will call her Fandong, okay? Like, that's Jondog, okay? So Jondog means it's not true, but you make a big thing about something which is not true, okay? And we do it about everything, okay? Every time someone criticizes us, we are Jondog, okay? We are Jondog. We are making a story about why they criticize us, which is not true, okay? Actually coming from my seeds, okay? Everything's coming from my seeds, okay? What's a kundap? Can you give me a kundap in the kitchen? I don't know.
If someone gave you a teaching on emptiness, and you misunderstood it, and you think, oh, the person's empty, he doesn't exist at all.
Yeah, okay. So you walk in the kitchen, your friend is there. Your friend says your husband doesn't exist from his own side. And then you decide he doesn't exist at all. Okay? That's classic kundap. Which one's more common in human nature? First one's more common. Okay? You think the husband decided to yell at you, but actually it's coming from your seeds. Okay? The only people who think that nothing exists in the world and therefore they can do what they want, they have no morality, is people who got a bad emptiness teaching, okay? People who got a bad emptiness teaching from someone. Then they say, okay, nothing exists, nothing matters. I can hurt people, it doesn't matter, okay? Okay. Chirupa gashiki jikten di kyamjuki jukpa chu chepadang tang chembe shejala tang nyanga chene chu tsoe chepadang. Then he gives some examples of religious drondong, and he's talking about ancient Indian religions. One is called Vishnu, and they say Vishnu created the world. He did 10 different things and then he created all the things in the world. Or the Sankhya school says that there are 25 divisions of existence and they were all created by some what do you call it? Primeval power, okay? And then there's another school that talks about a god named Ishvara. And they say everything was made by this person. Then you ask them, well, who made the person? And they're like, nobody made the person. So you're like, so things were made by someone who was never made. Yes. So things were made by a person who never changed. Yes. So when a person makes something, they don't have to change. Yes. But by making something, you always change, okay? Anytime you do anything, you change, okay? So these are all drondo. This idea that someone who has been here forever has made the world, okay, but never changed, okay? So he says, yay, we finished the 6 major negative emotions. 5 are not viewpoints and 5 are viewpoints, okay? The 6th one has 5 viewpoints inside, okay? So if you get one of these negative emotions, you should use the antidote. You should use the medicine for it, okay? And then he quotes Ayadeva, 400 verses. Lula luang jishindu timukun negyote. This is really interesting and it's difficult to explain. So in the Heart Sutra, for example, migme, nawame, name, tieme, lume, yime. Okay, you don't have eyes, you don't have ears, you don't have nose, you don't have tongue, you don't have body. Okay, and you don't have mind. Okay, so there's 6 consciousness, 6 parts of you. Then if you think about it, the first 4 live on number 5. Okay, your eyes live on your body, your ears live on your body, your nose lives on your body, your tongue lives on your body. So the first 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, live on number 5. Number 5 is the home, and the eyes live there, the ears live there. So that's what this first line means. Lula luang jishindu. All the powers of the body live on the body, and in the same way, all negative feelings you can have live on misunderstanding your husband. Okay? All negative feelings, these 6, cannot exist without misunderstanding. So misunderstanding is like the home base, like the body. And then your eyes, ears, nose, tongue, these are all like all your negative emotions, okay? They cannot survive without a place to stay. And anytime you have a negative emotion, there's a misunderstanding under it, okay? And that's really interesting, okay? And I'm translating Tsongkhapa's Gompa Rapsa. It's his greatest explanation of emptiness. We're halfway through. It took 5 years. It's 750 pages. We have to send it to somebody, by the way, okay? It will be 1,500 pages. He was just quoting this. You can't have anger or desire or hatred, jealousy, pride, if you don't misunderstand things around you, okay? Cannot have. You can't have a nose without a face. See what I mean? That's the idea, okay? All right, Sumbatar Timuki Nyomong Shen Tamje La Kyapching Gyu Chepe. Misunderstanding your life spreads through all of your negative emotions and causes them. Deng Wensen Kawe Oktu Chesung. But it's difficult to see how misunderstanding is always present when you feel negative emotions. So he said, Oktu Che. Word? Oktuche. Yeah, I'll cover it later. He says it's difficult to understand every time you have pride, every time you have anger, every time you have addiction. It has to be that you are misunderstanding that person or that food or, okay? You must be. So he's going to talk more about it later. Okay. We reached the second category, which is how do negative emotions start up in your heart, okay? How do they start up in your heart? But I'd like to take a break before we cover that. We have about 40 minutes, I think, and let's do some more review of the old lamrim, the last 8 years, okay? So I'm on number 88. What's the picture? Number 88. It's the dog helping the little girl cook the cake, okay? You okay? You guys with me? You want me to wait a few more minutes? It doesn't look like it. Okay, I'll wait. Let me know when you guys want to start. Okay. Sure? Yeah? Everybody? Peter, stop throwing things back there. Yeah. All right. All the troops are quiet. Say sabche. Okay, lamrim has many subjects. I think our review of the lamrim, if you want to be a lamrim specialist, meditation, master's degree in your ACI teacher training, I think it's about 800 idioms you're going to have to know, okay? Total. And but those have a sabche. What's a sabche? Word? Do you know that? Yeah, they have a certain order, okay? They have a certain order. So like when you're working on a car, you're trying to fix a car, there's a certain order of things you should do, one after another. And working on your mind has a certain order, okay? You can't just take a piece out of the lamrim and do it randomly, okay? They're all nice practices. They're all good practices, but they have to be done in a certain order, okay? A, B, C, D, okay? And so in the lamrim, that's called sabche. The order of the practices. Like first, you should find a teacher, and then you should think about the good chance you have, and then you should be meditating on death. So I think, I don't know, in America there's 3 kinds of people. I mean, one is they just go anywhere and they learn anything they hear. They just go to any yoga class or any retreat center and they just do whatever the people are doing. And then I guess secondly, there's people who learn lamrim, but they kind of mix it up. They just do one thing and then they do something. But the best way is to do it in the proper order, okay? So your mind has to be changed in a certain order. And that's called sabche, okay? So that's an important thing about lamrim. You should learn it and you should follow the sabche, okay? The next 89 is called the 4 magnificences, the 4 super cool, 4 kinds of super cool. And recently they found this photo of my teacher. It's really nice. This was some of his first classes in the United States. I guess it was 1974 or something, 75. And I like how he's touching the planet. It's like he has some plan, you know. So I'm going to read you this section from the lamrim. Hang on. So traditionally, at the beginning of teaching the lamrim, you talk about how cool was the people who started lamrim in this world, okay? And mainly we talk about Lord Atisha, okay? So we call cool source, magnificent source, okay? So it's traditional to study a little bit about Atisha's life and how he started the lamrim tradition. He wasn't the first lamrim teacher. The Buddha was the first lamrim teacher, but historically he's the one who came from India to Tibet and spread that teaching. Secondly, we study the greatness of the teaching. There's certain things about this teaching which are amazing. And for example, if you study the lamrim in order, then you could see emptiness directly. You could have that perception of bodhicitta that we talked about yesterday. Okay? What do you call it? Slot machine. Okay? Protocol in English means what's the proper method? Protocol means proper method. And this is called, in lamrim, it's called nyenshé. Nyenshé means there's rules about how to teach it and how to study it. Okay? There's rules for the teacher and there's rules for the students. Okay? So that's called protocol. There's a very strict tradition of how you teach it and how you study it. Okay? So when you study lamrim, before you start the lamrim, you study about teaching. You study how do we teach and how do we learn. What are the rules in Buddhism for studying and learning and teaching, okay? Last one, then you can, then you actually start the lamrim, okay? So these are the traditional steps. Number one, you talk about the person who helped start the lamrim. Number two, you talk about how cool is the teaching in general. Number three, you talk about the proper way to teach it and to study it. And then you start the lamrim, okay? This is the tradition. Okay, what's the picture? I don't remember. Ken Rinpoche. Okay, all right. Okay, item number 90 is Lord Atisha, and we said roots, training, and mission. Then in this lamrim that we've been studying, there's a very long life story of Lord Atisha, who brought the lamrim to Tibet. And I would like to go through some of his life. It might take the rest of the time this morning. Okay, so I'd like to go through. We studied it already. I think many of you were not there. And I'm just going to do highlights of his life, okay? We can't cover his whole life, but I think it's interesting how he developed himself and then how he started to teach, okay? Maybe you can think about it for yourself. You know, if you want to be an ACI teacher, maybe you should go through the same kind of steps that he went through, okay? Here we go. Then traditionally his life is divided, and I'm just going to skip through his biography because it's very long and we don't have time to do it again. Rik Punsum Sopa Kiewa Shepitsu, Tendela yenta nyepitsu, nyene tembala chawa zepitsulo. So, where did he grow up? How was he born? What was his family? First one, I call it roots, right? Second part, how was he trained? Okay, what kind of teachings did he attend? What kind of teachings did he get in his life? Okay? And then third one is mission. Then what did he do after he became a teacher? After he became qualified, then what did he do? And all of us are the same in this room, everyone who wants to be an ACI teacher. I think we're very lucky because we have such a rich variety of people here. We have people from many countries. We have people of many different kinds of personality. We have big businessmen. We have artists. We have musicians. We have all kinds of people. And so you have different roots, right? Then training, how should you train yourself? And then you're going to have your teaching career. Maybe people will talk about the 3 turnings of the wheel by Peter and Masha in their life. Okay, so let's look at his life story. And as we go through it, don't think about some Indian who lived 1,000 years ago. Think about your story, okay? All right. And I'm just going to go through the highlights of his life. He was born in Bangala, which is probably Bengal nowadays. And he was born into a royal family. He was a prince. They had 35,000 subjects, which is a big city in his time. They had a golden palace, grew up in a golden palace, and extremely powerful family. Okay, so many of the Buddhist saints had the karma to be born into very powerful families. At the age of 18 months, he started to study refuge and bodhicitta. Okay. He's a little bit ahead of us. Okay, when he was 3, he studied. Qi means what do you call it? Astrology. But in the old days, this was important. It was a very exact science and very difficult to learn. And he studied writing, and he studied Sanskrit. He became a master of Sanskrit at the age of 3. Then they say at the age of 6, he learned to distinguish between the outer and the inner. He learned to distinguish between the outer and the inner. And that means what's the difference between Buddhist philosophy and other kinds of philosophy? What are the ideas that are different between Buddhism and other philosophies? Okay. And he mastered it. And they say he was one of the few people. There were only 3 people in India who got it right, which is Atisha, Naropa, and Shantipa. And they made a joke. Naropa had passed away later. Then Atisha had gone to Tibet, and there was only one person left in India who clearly understood the difference. Okay, but he understood it at 6. Okay, when he was 11, he discovered girlfriends. And then he decided it wasn't worth it. Okay. 6th grade, right? 5th grade, 6th grade. He checked it out and he decided, this is not for me, okay? This is not what I want to do. And a woman, a young lady came to him who was Tara in disguise. And she said, Pumo ngosam mashiki, Sachik macha kawachen dampet sel de langbo chingwa tar de petam de pao kyuchingna sutim gurchen nupaming yuram. You are potentially as powerful as an elephant. Your spiritual life could be as powerful as an elephant. But when you chain an elephant, it's the greatest loss. When you chain up the most powerful being, it's a great loss. So don't waste your time with small things. You will have a great future, and you should try to help the world, not just enjoy yourself. Okay? Today is the day that Jesus was crucified, right? And there's a tradition that when he started to teach, he was taken out into the desert for 40 days. He fasted and tried to pray, and the devil came to him and showed him all the riches of the world and said, this can be yours if you want. This can be yours. And that same, very similar tradition in Buddhism, that at a certain age, people are offered great wealth, great fame, and these great saints give it up. These great saints say, no, that's not all I want to be. I want to be more than that. So for him, it was around, 12 years old? 11, when he was 11. So he faced this same decision when he was 11 years old, and he decided not to be a famous king or to spend his time in pleasure. Okay. Didn't they say he left the palace with 130 cavalry officers, horse soldiers with him? And he went looking for a lama. Okay, so I guess he's 12 years old, and his bodyguard is 130 horse guards, and he went out to the forest, and he met a famous Buddhist teacher named Zetari, and he taught him, he gave him refuge vows, okay? And then he said, you should go meet this Lama at Nalanda Monastery, which is northeast India. And his name is Bodhibhadra Chanchu Sambo. And you should go study with him. So he did. Maybe he's 13, something. Then he taught him about bodhicitta, and he gave him the third kind of teaching. What do we say? Shumbawa, lamrim, damngakpa. Yeah, he said, you go get personal advices, not formal teaching, from a lama named Avaduti. Okay, Avaduti. What's Avaduti? Yeah, it's the Jongmai. It's called Avaduti. Okay. As I remember, Avaduti means to throw off. You know, like take it off and get it off. Okay. And refers to what? These two channels, Pingala, Ida, and you take them off. So all the chi moves through the central channel. So that Lama's name is throw off the side channels. The teacher's name was throw off the side channels, which is the goal of yoga, for example. Okay? Okay. Yabyungi Korakin Gyasi Sungla Koinjo La Chupa Upong La Jimba Tsula Kong Shengla. Then his mom and dad said, look, the job of a prince is to build temples, give charity to the poor, and make offerings to the three jewels. It's not that kings are meant to become monks or become spiritual practitioners, okay? And so you're kind of... it's okay to be spiritual, and they were spiritual, but they said, you're not doing it the right way. You shouldn't do it that way. Then he said to his parents, to tell you the truth, there's nothing about this palace that's interesting to me. And I don't want to be a king. Nakta. For me, it's the same as the food you serve in this palace is the same to me as eating rotten dog's meat. And all the silk you guys all wear, I don't have any attraction to it. So he kind of had a, what do you call it? Tension with his parents, okay? All right. Dala techen sangye wang korn ki, nyepa chingwa dila jala shishuba ninja chusumba geshe the gyaba chipatiri. Okay, in the old days, with special people, it would happen that they would get tantric initiation first, and then they would study the great books later, okay? So ACI, we do it, you learn the subjects first, open subjects, and then later you learn the secret teachings. But if the person's special, there is a tradition to give them Vajrayana first. So Atisha was like that. And he met a tantric teacher, and he got the name Yeshisawa Doji, Secret Wisdom Diamond, okay? And he studied with a tantric lama named Rahula. I like this one. This is kind of weird. This is what we did in the hippie times. So Atisha went and studied with this tantric lama, and with some of his friends, and they all came back to the palace dressed like tantrikas. So, and they were dancing and singing and acting a little crazy, and the parents were really upset. But they loved their son, so they let him stay in the palace. But it was a little bit crazy because they are doing like tantric rituals and singing and dancing, and the parents were really uncomfortable. Okay, I think there's some kind of message there. I don't know what it is. It's interesting. Then they basically, I think it was a plan, because finally the king and queen kicked him out and said, don't come back, and then he was free. Okay, like he was embarrassing them, so they kicked him out. And from the age of 21 to the age of 29, although there's some debate about it, maybe 28, he studied with Avaduti, and a great tantric master. They have an interesting expression in Tibetan. Nga tang denda mepa de chilme telwa shindu tor. He took all that power, political power, and financial power that he had, and he spit it out like a booger. So like, like, and to him it means that much. all the money, all the power. He just put, and to him it wasn't more important than spit. Okay. This Pabongka says that was pretty amazing to give up so much power and so much wealth like spit. Okay. He continued to study Vajrayana. He started to get, what do you call, big head? He said, oh, I'm a real tantric master. And so the Dakinis, the lady angels, came to him and they showed him a huge library of tantric books that he never saw before. They said, you're not a tantric master. Look, you never even saw these books before. So he got... They put him in his place? Okay. All right. Then one of his tantric lamas said, you know, if you really want to help the world, you should become a monk. Which is a cool statement, okay? We think that first you become a monk and then you should become tantrika. But in this case, one of his tantric teachers, Rahula Gupta, told him, look, if you really want to help people, it's not enough to be a tantrika. You should be a monk also. Okay. And so he became a monk at the age of 29, which is pretty old. Okay, so nowadays in the monastery, you know, kids go there at 7. They get first ordination around 15, and at 21 they become a full monk. But I think there's something important that Atisha, who's kind of like the grandfather of our whole tradition, waited until he was almost 30. And you're talking in a culture where people live to 40, you see? So he was 3/4 through his life before he became a monk. So it means it was a very serious step in those days. Okay. Eventually he studied with 157 teachers. And then he met a teacher named Dharmarakshita, okay, whose text Seiji is translating. And with him he studied, you know, that text is very almost tantric. But what did he study with Dharmarakshita is Vinaya, the whole Vinaya. We call Lungdeshi, and Ngumba. Yeah, Abhidharma. He studied Abhidharma. So you think, you know, when you read that poem, it seems like Dharmarakshita must have been his tantric teacher or something, but it turns out he was his teacher for the foundation subjects, Vinaya and Abhidharma, okay? And they studied Chedaktu Shepa, which is a detailed explanation, which is why the detailists are called detailists, okay? So in those days it was common to teach from this Abhidharma book. Pampo Gyegya, 800 chapters to that book, okay? And he studied it for 12 years with Dharmarakshita, okay? And then when he left for Tibet to teach, Dharmarakshita gave him the crown of knives, okay? I like this part in his life a lot. I think I even put it in the Lojong course, I don't remember. Um, but he was hanging out in Bodh Gaya, okay, which was called Vajrasana at that time, a seat of the diamond. And two women, two beautiful ladies, were flying through the sky. Okay, and he's like, "Whoa," you know, and they were yelling at each other, you know, and one of them said, "Hey, if I want to get enlightened really fast, you know, what should I study?" And the other said, "Bodhicitta, bodhicitta." Then he's like, you know, he got this sign, okay. Then he was at a special wall which was built by Nagarjuna around the Bodhi tree, because the Bodhi tree was getting eaten up by elephants and stuff. So at that time there was a famous wall built by Nagarjuna to protect the Bodhi tree. And there was an old lady and a young lady, and they were sitting against the wall. And the young one asked the old one, "If I wanted to get enlightened really fast, like, what would be the best way?" And the old one said, "Oh, you gotta study bodhicitta. You should study bodhicitta." And then a third thing he was doing, Gando Korwa means, what do you call it? Circumambulating the whole Bodh Gaya stupa, which we can still do. We did it, we all went as a group not long ago, 1999. And so he was walking around the stupa, and there was a Buddha statue, and it started talking to him. And it said, "Hey, if you really want to get enlightened fast, you gotta study bodhicitta." You know. So these are three. Oh, it looks like there's another one. Yeah, and it happened again with another image. So he thought, well, that I guess it means I should study bodhicitta. And he started to check around if there was a good teacher who could teach bodhicitta. And he heard about Lama Serlingpa, Suvarna Dvipa Guru, okay? Suvarna Dvipa, which means Sumatra in the old days. So he got information that if he went to Indonesia, what they call Golden Island, is that where we're going, Jasmine? We're going to Bali for the lamrim in December. So you guys should come, because it's very close to where Atisha got the instructions on bodhicitta. And besides that, it's a beautiful beach. I think that's more important. We went there with the Indonesia group recently. It was quite beautiful. And I think it's a good karma to study those subjects where they were taught. So if you have time, talk to Jasmine about it. So he heard about this Lama called Lama of the Golden Island, Sumatra. And he decided he would go request the teachings on bodhicitta. And he got in a boat, and they went for 13 months. Okay, and in those days, extremely dangerous. Very small survival rate. Then they had lots of adventures. Whales and sharks tried to tip over the boat, and special lightning storms, and Atisha would always stand in the front of the boat and do prayers, and then they made it. Took 13 months. Okay. They say there's an interesting thing they say. Pabongka says look, you and me, if we go out of the monastery for a couple of days, we change our clothes. We put on lay clothes. But during those 13 months on the ship, Atisha never took off he didn't wear normal clothes. He always wore his monk robe. Okay. And that's the next item. What is the next item? 91. I think it's a bunch of DCI teachers, like Peter and Masha dressed up in nice clothes and suits and stuff. And this is very much something that Atisha would have done. You know, he thought it was very important to dress the part when you're a teacher. So and there's many stories about him making sure his monks were nati. Nati means like, you know, looking very nice. And there's many stories of him encouraging his students when they teach to look professional. I don't mean an ACI teacher should wear a suit and a tie. I think it might be uncomfortable for his students. But you should look nice, okay? There's a tradition that when you teach the Dharma, you should look nice, okay? You shouldn't look like a bum, you know, like you didn't shave or you didn't do your hair or something. Like, to respect the Dharma, it's a tradition to dress nicely and to look nice for your students, okay? And you know, we're Buddhists and we think dressing nice isn't very important, but it is important when you're a teacher, okay? You should make a good impression. If your students' parents came to the talk, would they be happy? Okay, that's a good way to think about it. I personally don't like to dress up at all. I really enjoy old jeans. My jeans are old, really old, and I like old shirts. The shirts I wear sometimes in the evening I got in the Goodwill, and I like them because they're soft. And but when we go to teach DCI, I put on this ridiculous suit and a tie, and it's for the Dharma, okay? It's not for your comfort, okay? So you should look nice when you teach, okay? You don't have to look fancy, but you should look clean and nice. If your students' parents came, would they be happy? Okay, all right. Kirib Tanjung Kyang. Okay. Then when he got to, by the way, I might go over a few minutes, okay? When he got to Sumatra, I think I told you a different time, but it was 14 days. He didn't go to see this Lama for 14 days. He met all of his students, and he asked questions, and he investigated the teacher. I think nowadays it would be on the internet. You would investigate the teacher, okay? And he investigated that teacher for 14 days before he even went to his house. So if it's you and me, we will jump off the boat and run to the teacher's house after 13 months. But he, you know, he gave us an example that we should be picky about the teacher and we should investigate the teacher, check them, okay? Almost done. The first book he studied with that teacher, 15 days of teaching, was the Jewel of Realizations, okay? Asanga's text, where we got the lion's dance from, okay? Then he spent, then he got sold and he spent 12 years there. He stayed with that teacher for 12 years. Okay, $500 word. Okay? You ready? Because I know you're never going to get it. Ungedel. 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 Okay, forget it. Anyway, you'll never forget it in the future. U is easy, del is easy, but nge you'll never get it. Okay, let's give up. You give up? Yeah. Okay. U means your head. Nge means your pillow. Okay, nge means your pillow. Del means... So for 12 years they were as close as your head is to your pillow. It's kind of a sweet way to say they were inseparable. Okay? So he spent 12 years there and studied the teachings on bodhicitta. And the teacher said, it's time for you to go do your thing in the land of snows. And Atisha had no idea what he was talking about. I think we stop there. It goes on quite a bit, okay? I'm going to stop there. We'll do more tomorrow. Mark Salustra, you ready? Bhagi Geshe Michael Roach Ninde Gampati Sangye Shindu Mikte Uwagi Dokun Namda Shingna Chupasho Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kamnaya Yami Di Kyawokun Sanam Yeshe Tsotso Shin Sanam Yeshe Lechuhe Dampa Kunya